Okay. Hey, 6A. So just wanted to say hi and wanted to help you with some of this math. So if you got the packet that I put on Class Dojo, hopefully you were able to see that. It's also on the Kingsbury website. So if you're stuck, maybe you don't remember some things about expressions and equations, that's fine. So I'm going to go over a few things right now. I did give you another math mystery packet because I remember you guys said that you really enjoyed those when I was gone having Eli. So hopefully you enjoy that. So this one, I'm going to pull it up. This one is about an alien apocalypse. So, an alien apocalypse is upon us. Their war to take over the planet Earth starts with Manhattan. Everyone is frightened. Crowds are racing to evacuation shelters and hope that there'll be some protection from these fierce allegoric aliens. Maybe feels a little bit like today. Hopefully not. At least we don't have any aliens. But you'll see your typical clue list that you guys have seen before. But what I want to go over first is some exponents. I really hope that we remember exponents. It would really hurt my heart if you don't, but if you don't, that's okay. So let's do just one of these together, or two of these together. So for example, for k, if you were to do that, it says 4 to the third power is equal to k. So what they're asking us to do here is they say 4 to the third power is equal to k. We need to figure out what k is equal to. So we know that 4 to the third power is equal to 4 times 4 times 4. Now if I were to figure out that equals, I know 4 times 4 is 16. And I know that 16 times 4 is 64. I hope I'm right, because now I don't have any of you there to tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, but 64 should be equal to k. So when I'm over here, for k, I'm going to put 64. Then after that, I want to do one more. Let's say, how about this one? Okay, E is a little bit different because now what it's saying is 3 to what power gives me 27. So when I'm thinking about this, it's a little different. 3 to the e power equals 27. So I'm saying 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. How many times would I have to multiply 3 by itself to get 27? So let's just start with the first power would just be 3. Okay, so if this is 3 to the first power, it's just 3. Okay, because it's 3 times only one of them. Now, if it was 3 to the second power, this would be 3 times 3, which is 9. Now, I'm not at 27 yet. But if I do 3 times 3 times 3, we know 3 times 3 is 9. Now, if I do that 9 times 3, I get 27. That's what I'm looking for. So what I find out is I had to multiply by 3 1, 2, 3 times. So this would be 3 to the third power is how I get 27. So E is equal to 3. It's a little different because now I'm not just simplifying my exponent. I need to figure out what my exponent is. So over here, my E is 3. Okay? And if you're stuck on that still, let me know down in the comments, or you can shoot me a text or call me, and I'd be happy to answer that for you. So let's go ahead to the next page. So we're looking at expressions. I hope that you guys remember some of this. So what they're asking you to do is it says find the value of the expressions below for y is equal to 3. So you have all of these different expressions that they gave us, and they told us that y is 3. So they're just asking us to use substitution here. They already did that first one for you, and I'm going to show you how they did that. Okay, so they said 3 plus y equals 6, right? Because the expression was 3 plus y. They told us that y is equal to 3, so I need to substitute my 3 in for y. 3 plus 3 equals 6. That's how they got this 6 right here, okay? And you're going to do that for all of these. You're going to substitute. Notice that what they are asking you to substitute changes though, okay? Let's take a look at the next page. So now we are solving expressions. This you should see right here when I have a number outside of the parenthesis being multiplied by something inside parentheses. This is the distributive property. Hopefully you remember that. Distributive property. Now, the distributive property, I'm going to show you this example that they gave you for t. So they said 3 times the quantity 9 plus 10x. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. 3 times the quantity of 9 plus 10x. So what we talked about in class was I could think of this as 3 copies of 9 plus 10x. So I could have 9 plus 10x, 9 plus 10x, 9 plus 10x. Those are 9s. I'm sorry I didn't write them very well. Okay, and I'm going to add my like terms. So everything in this column, none of those have an x. So 9 plus 9 plus 9 gives me 27. And I'm going to add my other like terms. All of these have one x, just an x, right? So I'm going to add those up. 10 plus 10 plus 10 gives me 30x. Okay, so my equivalent expression would be 27 plus 30x. And we can see that right here, 27 plus 30x. Okay, the other way that you could think of that, instead of thinking of it as 3 copies of 9 plus 10x, it's also 3 copies of 9 and 3 copies of 10x. This is a little bit of a quicker way. So you can see that 3 times 9 is 27. Order of operations, I have to multiply first. 3 times 10 is 30 x's. We get the same answer either way. Just depends on how you would prefer to think about that. So that is distributive property for clue number 3. Now, when I'm getting to clue number 4, this is something that we didn't do a whole lot of in class, so I really wanted to take a second and talk about it. If I'm looking at, well, we can do D, this example that they gave us, 4x plus 2x minus 4x. So they have 4x's plus 2x's minus 4x's. All of these 3 terms, so each of these is a term. 4x is a term, 2x is a term, minus 4x is a term. Okay, so because they all have an x, we call them all like terms. Okay, they're all called like terms. So because they're all like terms, I can add them all up. So I could do 4x plus 2x gives me 6x's, but I still have to take away the 4x's from this expression. 6x's minus 4x's leaves me with 2x, and that's how they got this 2x here in this example. Now, if I had something where, let's pretend that this one didn't have an x, if I were to take it away, well, now in this case, I have 6x minus 4. Well, because this doesn't have an x right here, there's no x anymore, these two are not like terms because one of them has an x and the other one doesn't. So if I were to try and simplify this, I'd have to stop right there because my 4 doesn't have an x next to it. So that's that. And then this last one, you guys have been really good at this, solving equations, one-step equations. So this is where we talked about we want to figure out what that variable is. So you're asking yourself, you might be able to hear my baby in the background. You might be asking yourself, what is x going to equal? What am I going to get if I get that variable by itself? So they gave us the example x plus 20 equals 30. Oh, not my highlighter. Let's try this again. Okay, so if I want to know what x is, I'm asking myself, well, what's the opposite of adding 20? The opposite of adding 20 is to subtract 20. This is called the inverse operation. Okay, plus 20 minus 20, we talked about how that makes a 0, so that's how I get x by itself over here. And then on the other side of my equal sign, 30 minus 20 leaves me with just 10. So I see that x needs to equal 10 for that example. You could also kind of do some guess and check, and you could ask yourself, what number plus 20 equals 30? And you could say, oh, well, I know that 10 plus 20 is going to equal 30, and 30 does equal 30, right? So I got that right. But sometimes it's not as easy just to be able to figure out off the top of your head. If you use the inverse operation, you'll be able to get that answer every time and probably make less mistakes as long as you use it correctly. All right, so that's it for this week. Hopefully you're able to solve this mystery on your own. If you have any more questions, please let me know. You can type your question into the comments. You can text me. You can shoot me a phone call. Either any of those is fine. If you have any specific questions that I can't answer over text or in the comments, I can make another short video and post it back here for you as well. So I think that is about it. Hope you guys are doing well. You're going to do great on this, I'm sure. You guys were killing it in equations right before we left. If you want to see my baby, my husband's bringing him over. This is Eli. Eli's been hanging out at home with me. We've been having a good old time. Anyway, I miss you guys, and hopefully I'll get to talk to you soon. Bye.